Hey there my friends, welcome back to another video. I've got 5 different lunch recipes for you today, many of which you can throw together the night before a busy school day, work day, whatever you got on your agenda to keep you moving and grooving. So I'm gonna kick off today's video with the one recipe I wouldn't necessarily recommend making the night before. It can be done, but I'll leave that up to you. This one would be perfect if you work from home and need something fast and nourishing in the middle of your day. So that's what I recommend doing, but it's totally up to you. You do you. I started off by roughly chopping up half of a bundle of Swiss chard along with half of a block of tempeh into nice little cubes. I'm now just chopping up some fresh herbs like basil and parsley. I oiled up a pan. I allowed that pan to get nice and hot, threw my Swiss chard in there along with pepper and salt. Obviously pepper and salt to taste, along with chili flakes. I love to spice things up, but the chili flakes are definitely optional in this recipe. Along with that, I added about 2 tablespoons worth of balsamic vinegar, gave that all a really good mix, covered it with a lid, and let it saute for about 4 to 5 minutes. In the meantime, I chopped up some toast, sliced up some toast, threw it in the toaster, and then I threw the tempeh and all the fresh herbs into the pan as well, covered it again, and let it saute for about 4 to 5 minutes. I'm now just spreading some roasted garlic on my toast. This is totally optional if you have roasted garlic in the house. However, you can definitely just mince up some garlic and throw it right into the pan. But since I already had it hanging out in the fridge, it just made my life a lot easier to just simply spread it on my toast. And there's that. Once I got that on there, along with some Dijon mustard, I then threw my entire mixture onto my 2 slices of toast, topped it off with some hemp seeds, blueberries. Yes, blueberries, because why the hell not? You gotta have some fruits at lunchtime too, along with some nice, green, beautiful pea sprouts as well. Whatever microgreens you got in the house, arugula would also work, maybe some chopped up spinach, whatever greenness you want to throw on top of here is fine by me. My question to you is a lunch recipe video even a lunch recipe video without some sort of pasta salad? I don't think so. So we're gonna make a damn pasta salad. We're gonna start off by boiling up our brown rice pasta or whatever pasta your heart desires. Chickpea pasta, red lentil pasta, etc, 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 etc. It's up to you. We're gonna simply make our sauce in the bottom of a big bowl, but if you're making this the night before a school day or a work day, I suggest making the sauce in a separate jar, so that way you can pour it on the day of and your salad doesn't get all soggy and disgusting. As you saw, I threw in a few teaspoons worth of tahini along with a teaspoon worth of Dijon mustard, half of a lemon's juice, and a few cloves of roasted garlic. I'm now just whisking that all together. Again, make this in a separate jar if this is going to be for the next day, and then just water it down until you get the proper consistency. We don't want it too thick, but we also don't want it super runny. I suggest about 2 tablespoons worth of water, but start with 1 and add as you need. I chopped up some fresh parsley and some fresh basil. I'm now just chopping up some radicchio as well. If you're not a big fan of radicchio, that is totally okay. I wasn't for the longest time, so feel free to replace it with some red cabbage, some arugula, greens, whatever greens your heart desires. We're gonna chop up a big chunk of cucumber for this salad along with some sun-dried tomatoes. I definitely did not add as many sun-dried tomatoes as I would suggest for you to add. Tomatoes aren't my best friend, so I try to avoid them. However, I love the freaking taste of them, so how can I? I would suggest adding about double the amount that I added, and then I obviously chopped up some figs as well for some nice fruity element. I think you guys are getting the vibes that I like fruit in salad, and I think that's just a good thing. I threw in a little bit more Dijon mustard and seasoned it with a touch more salt to get it to my personal liking, and I also threw in a teaspoon worth of oregano. Once I felt the salad was at the perfect level of deliciousness, I plated it up and enjoyed. I think this one has so many beautiful elements to it with the sweetness and the bitterness and the creaminess. Okay, this is a fun one that I think you guys will really enjoy because not only is it simple, it's delicious, and I feel like it's kind of trendy. You can also make a massive batch of this and have it all throughout the week. So I suggest doing that, but I am only making a somewhat small amount for myself. I'm chopping up some radish, some cabbage, shredded up a carrot, and a decent amount of red onion as well. You can definitely do your own preference when it comes to the amount of red onion and the amount of radish. I know those things are not loved by everyone, so you do you when it comes to those things. Maybe add a little bit more carrot or add a little bit more cabbage to the mixture to kind of add your veggies into the mix, but yeah, play around. I'm adding a tablespoon worth of Frank's Red Hot sauce along with a heaping tablespoon worth of vegan mayonnaise in with my veggies and my crushed up, mashed up chickpeas. Seasoning it with some smoked paprika, some pepper, and some salt, along with a little bit more Frank's Red Hot sauce. Again, that was my own personal preference. If you are not a super lover of spice, go light on the Frank's Red Hot sauce, taste as you go, and get it to your liking, because it's for you, not for me. I toasted up a couple slices of bread, threw a bunch of the mixture onto the bread because that is the base of this sandwich. Threw some fresh parsley, cucumber, lettuce, and some pea sprouts as well, along with my other slice of bread to make it a sandwich, because we are a two-breaded sandwich type of people. I don't think any of that made sense, but we like sandwiches. We aren't the open-faced type people over here. Maybe sometimes, but it's a mood. We like a big fat sandwich for lunch, so I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. This was freaking delicious, and I highly, highly recommend it. All right, my friends, so we are going to make an edamame salad, and I gotta say, this one was probably my favorite recipe out of all of them. It was freaking delicious. So I started off by chopping up a big old chunk of cucumber along with a few radishes, and now we're just like kind of shredding up a red cabbage. I didn't feel like getting my cheese grater all dirty with a red cabbage, so I simply just thinly cut the red cabbage like you saw. I julienned some carrot, and now it's time to get our edamame beans going. So I added 2 whole cups worth of edamame beans into a small pot along with a cup of water. And definitely season your beans, my friends. Make sure they are well seasoned with a good old pinch of salt. And I let these guys go for about 5 to 7 minutes. You can obviously just pull a bean out, chomp down on it, make sure it's not frozen in the middle anymore. But in the meantime, let's make our dressing. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons worth of rice vinegar to a little jar, along with 2 tablespoons worth of soy sauce. Feel free to swap that out for tamari or coconut aminos. I'm also adding a teaspoon worth of miso paste and a teaspoon worth of sriracha sauce. Again, spice things up according to your preferences. To balance out the flavors, a teaspoon worth of maple syrup and a couple tablespoons worth of an oil of your choice. I'm using grapeseed oil. Feel free to use sesame seed oil, sunflower oil. I wouldn't recommend using olive oil just because we kind of want a little bit more of a neutral taste. Once the edamame beans were done, I strained them and then just ran cold water over them just to make sure I wasn't throwing hot beans in with the rest of my veggies. So I threw that all into a big old bowl just to make sure I had enough room to mix everything up. I wouldn't recommend trying to do this in a small bowl because you're just gonna make a damn mess. And I'm saying that like I don't make messes every single day of my life. But just a tip. I'm not even gonna say pro tip because this is a tip that I do not even listen to myself a lot of the time. I added a tablespoon worth of sesame seeds. Feel free to add a couple tablespoons worth of sesame seeds or not add them whatsoever. Feel free to add some cashews or peanuts to the salad or enjoy this with some seaweed on the side. All right, my friends, this is the easiest one, and it's not even a real recipe. And I'm going to tell you that this in itself is going to make your life so much easier and also clear out your fridge. Do you have a bunch of vegetables in your fridge that you don't know what the hell to do with? Are you hungry at lunchtime? This will solve your problems. So I am throwing in some cabbage. We got some broccoli. We're going to throw some zucchini in here along with some eggplant and potato as well. Anything you have in the fridge that is either going to go to waste very shortly or you just need to use up, throw it in here. I mean, obviously, if it's like blueberries or raspberries or something, like don't go crazy, but nice good old vegetables that you just need to do something with. So I just very roughly chopped everything, threw it all together in a baking dish, Oiled the bottom of the baking dish, obviously. Make sure you add a sufficient amount of oil. And we're gonna season it with a good amount of salt to make sure all of the veggies are completely covered. I am personally adding pepper, some garam masala, garam masala. Still not saying that right. Some sort of curry spice along with turmeric powder and about a 1/4 cup worth of veggie stock. You can also just add water. It does not have to be veggie stock. I threw that into the oven for about 40 minutes. Obviously, different vegetables are going to take different amounts of time. So just pull it out every once in a while, poke some things with a fork, see how things are going. I threw some brown rice on the stove, and now we're going to make a sauce to go on top of it. So I added a good old tablespoon worth of tahini along with a 1/2 of a lemon's juice, a teaspoon worth of onion powder, a tablespoon worth of nutritional yeast, a couple tablespoons worth of water. Gave that a really good shake. Realized I did not add enough water, so I added a little bit of that and also some garlic powder as well. My garlic powder is kind of old and sad, so I just ran it through a small little strainer just to kind of break up the chunks. I suggest adding a touch of maple syrup or some sort of sweetener to this just to balance out the flavors. I just completely forgot and did not remember until I put it on my salad bowl. It's not a salad bowl. Anyways, feel free to add some crispy tofu to this or some tempeh to get some protein into the mix. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and got some inspiration. Sending everyone so much love, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your damn day because you deserve it, and never forget that. Mwah!